Day number 2, and I think today we're gonna go for a little drive along the beach. I spoke to one of the rangers and one of the guides of this youth camp here, and supposedly there's champagne pools, a bit like on Fraser Island. I don't think I've been there actually before, so we're gonna check that out and see what else the day brings. Also doubles for cleanup, which is quite handy. It's like in the cold morning, my tire pressure monitor went on. My iCheck TPMS gave a low pressure alert in the morning. The system triggers when it detects a 25% drop in pressure. I had reinstalled the tire pressure monitors when the tires were hot, and with the cooler overnight temperature, the threshold was hit. A quick press of the reset button fixed the issue. Oh, battery 57%. Getting 76 amps now in 902. So let's see how long I managed to get that in. You can see at high tide you may get stuck here. Unless you want to really drive through the bushes. Today we decided to do a day trip and explore the island. Our first goal was to drive to the Champaign pools, but this time via the beach. Something I didn't do on my first visit back in 2016. Since Moreton Island is subjected to tidal changes, it's best to drive on the beach 2 hours before and after low tide. Some sections are impassable at high tide, as we will find out later in the trip. Beach driving here requires careful timing to avoid getting stuck in areas where the water reaches up to the dunes during high tide. Our attempt to reach Champaign pools via the beach was halted when we came across a large tidal lagoon right in front of the Five Hills lookout. This area is accessible from the inland tracks to Cape Moreton. And while you can supposedly cross the lagoon at low tide, we had an incoming tide. I wasn't willing to risk it, especially after using the drone to scout the lagoon, which revealed some deep channels. There's also the potential for quicksand in these tidal areas, which can form around shifting sandbanks and make crossing even more dangerous. After checking out the area, we decided to turn back and head towards an inland track I spotted a bit further southwest. But first let me show you some beautiful views of these tidal lagoon. So, still 70 amp with the cooler. I've got my heat gun here. That's TOPDON. I've been given that for radio purposes. I've got the 2 chargers here. Okay, so that is Redarc without a fan at 40 degrees. And you see this one here is at 22 degrees. So quite a difference. Well, it seems like it does the job because I'm still charging here with 70 amps, which is good. So 20 and 50. Now we found a small little track going in here. We'll see how that goes. No signs, no nothing, and doesn't seem to be too much traveled. At present, many of the Hema apps experience issues. Their cloud service is currently down, which is causing problems with access and updates. While Hema hasn't announced they are discontinuing the app, these ongoing issues are terrible if you are on the road and rely on the app. What you see me using on all my trips is Memory Maps for All with a Hema 4-wheel drive map pack, and I found that far more user-friendly and reliable. Memory Map for All is a free download, and if you're interested, there is a discount code in the video description for the Hema 4-wheel drive map pack. I also reviewed memory maps in detail and made a tutorial which you can check out here. But as always, choose what works best for your own needs and situation. So 10:37, back to 100%, and that is with letting the power bank charge via 700 watt via the inverter for probably 40 minutes or so. So that fan does work. Beautiful. We made our way inland towards North Point and Cape Moreton, stopping along the way at the Five Hills Lookout. We had seen it from the beach, so we took the 500-meter walk up the hill. We are doing the walk, what's it called? Five Hill or something, lookout. Yeah, long time ago. 10 years since I've been last here. The view from the top is stunning, overlooking the Tidal Lagoon and offering a panoramic view of the northern part of the island. If you are in the area, it's definitely worth a stop and walk. The treks heading to the northeastern side of Moreton Island are generally in good shape, while a bit soft in patches and occasionally corrugated. With the right tire pressure it's a breeze. After reaching the coast again and heading back along the beach towards Champaign pools, we came across a decent-sized waterhole, one where you couldn't see the bottom. I learned my lesson 8 years ago when I drove through one of these without checking, and water came pouring into my Defender through the air vents just below the windscreen. I wasn't about to make the same mistake again.
Either one, pretty good.
Good?
Yeah, nah, might come over your bonnet, you'll be right. It's soft, it's not soft.
Luckily, a troopy with 2 young fellas was already lined up, and these 2 guys waited the crossing to see whether it's easy passable. The 2 young blokes went first, admittedly a bit fast for my liking, then Kerry followed in his patrol, and I brought up the rear. We made a quick stop at the North Point campground. It's close to the beach with big open grassy sites, but everything is walk-in, which isn't ideal for wheel drive camping. That said, it does have toilets and water, making it a decent option for those looking for basic campsites. There wasn't much shade though. It was too early in the day for us to settle down, so we kept moving and headed towards Cape Moreton to check out the lighthouse.
Brekkie.
Kerry started experiencing some electrical issues with his fridge the day before. Unfortunately, some fridge errors for Kerry. What's happening?
Nobody home. It's come back down, it was higher than that, but and I've got 12 volts here.
Switched overnight. It switched off overnight and now again issues. The Cape Moreton Lighthouse, built in 1857, is Queensland's oldest lighthouse, constructed by convicts out of only local stone. This historic site not only guides ships safely past the coast, but also became home to lighthouse keepers and their families. Among them was Mary Ann Griffin, a resilient pioneer woman who faced unimaginable hardship. She bore 11 children, 4 of whom tragically passed away young. Mary herself died in 1876 during childbirth and was laid to rest near the lighthouse alongside her children. Her life is a poignant reminder of the trials faced by early settlers on Moreton Island. Walking up to the Moreton Bay Lighthouse. Before the lighthouse is a little information center, and if you love to read about Moreton's history, it's definitely a place where you can spend half an hour to an hour reading all about it. After the Lighthouse we made our way to Honeymoon Bay and the Champaign pools. Moreton Island got some epic spots, and two you definitely don't want to miss are the Champaign pools and Honeymoon Bay. First up, the Champaign pools. These natural rock pools fill up with ocean water as the waves crash over them. The water fizzes and bubbles kinda like a natural jacuzzi. It's a great spot to kick back, cool off and take in the views after a day of exploring on the island. Then there's Honeymoon Bay. Don't let the name fool you, it's not just for couples. It's a quiet, tucked away beach with crystal clear water and soft sand. Perfect for chilling out, having a swim or just soaking up the sun without the crowds. In my book, both spots are an absolute must if you're hitting Moreton Island, whether you're after a bit of adventure or just looking to relax with your mate. It was time to head back to our camp at Comboyuro Point, but be aware there were a few water crossings, and as I mentioned, I have been caught out on a previous trip, so always check the depths because they can be surprisingly deep. On the way back to camp, we had the obligatory stopover at the Bulwer shop for ice cream and coffee. $12 for coffee and ice?
$8 for ice. 8.
Oh, 8 for
Ice.
not ice cream, yeah.
Yeah.
So, first time I've ever seen a machine where you can get bagged ice and cold water right next to the Bulwer store. We had a reasonably eventful day, so it was time for an early dinner for me. Early dinner, induction cooked, curry, quinoa, rice, beef, veggies. I was supposed to take the kids on a desert trip, or didn't happen, so I got one more of these blankets. I have this Nackie blanket already, which I really like, and now Mountain Design also sent me one of them. Yeah, the Mountain Design really for additional warmth with the down filling. That nylon here feels like it has gone a little bit through to the down, so that won't be as good catching condensation. The Nackie blanket I use is really my condensation catcher, so it's not all on my down sleeping bag, and in addition to that it also gives some warmth. But yeah, pretty nice. I reckon carrying one or two of these blankets is one of the best camping hacks, and I can't believe I only discovered them a couple of years ago. The Nackie blanket has been excellent at catching condensation from the stretcher and preventing it from soaking my down sleeping bag. Plus it adds a bit of extra warmth. While the Mountain Design down blanket doesn't manage condensation as well, it's incredibly warm. Given how compact these blankets are, I always keep two in the car now, especially for winter camping. I also own two Teton Highline blankets, but I don't have them on my trip here. When comparing the Nackie blanket and the Teton Highline blanket, both offer unique advantages depending on your needs. The Nackie blanket is slightly longer, measuring 2 meters by 1.4 meters, which is great for taller individuals like myself. It's also lighter and packs smaller, making it ideal for those who prioritize portability. However, from my testing, it feels less water resistant and the recycled plastic fill may not hold up as well over time. That said, it's more comfortable when used inside a sleeping bag due to its softer feel. On the other hand, the Teton Highline comes in about 20 centimeters shorter, but it feels noticeably thicker and better made. It has a rugged design with better water resistance due to its durable polyester shell and hollow fiber fill. This makes it a better option for catching condensation during outdoor use. And it's likely warmer too. The downside, it packs a little bigger than the Nackie. Price-wise, the Teton Highline is quite a bit cheaper while offering superior durability and warmth, making it an excellent value, if you are looking for something that can handle tougher conditions. In summary, if you're after a lightweight blanket that packs small and works well inside your sleeping bag, the Nackie may be your pick. But if you need something more robust with better weather resistance at a lower price point, I'd recommend going with the Teton Highline. Day 3, packing all in, and then we head towards the east coast and don't know yet where we end up. We paid camping permits, not very busy, so we find ourselves a spot somewhere and tuck ourselves in there for a night or two. Looking forward to see some other parts and camp some other parts, because I've been here now twice, so I want to discover something else. On the way to the east coast of the island, you drive past the Honeyeater Lake. It's another stunning freshwater lake on Moreton Island, though a little bit more tucked away than some of the others. We made a quick stop here and walked to the lookout, which offers fantastic views over the lake and surrounding landscape. While it's a beautiful and peaceful spot, you can't really swim or access the water directly. It's best enjoyed from the viewing platform. Still, it's a great place to pause and take in the natural beauty of the island when you drive past. Next, we had a look at various campsites, and then I wanted to show Kerry the Blue Lagoon because he hadn't seen that yet. Just be aware, if you take the one-way trip into the Blue Lagoon, there are a few decent size and reasonable depth water crossings. Silly me, I lost a shoe and got wet. Okay guys, that was smartly done here. Wet. The Blue Lagoon is one of the hidden gems on Moreton Island, a freshwater lake filled entirely by rainwater. Unlike many other lakes, it sits above the island's natural water table, giving it incredibly clear and refreshing water. The slightly blue tint comes from the natural tea tree oils in the surrounding plants, which also gives the water a soft, silky feel. It's a peaceful spot for swimming, with beautiful views of the surrounding dunes and vegetation, making it a perfect stop during any visit to Moreton Island. I really wouldn't call it a Blue Lagoon, it more has a tannin color from all the tea tree oil. It's a one-way trek in and out, so all the water crossings you did coming in, you have to do again driving out. While scouting a few camp spots, I drove into a gully that I initially thought was another camp spot. It turned out to be a dead end with a very steep and soft exit. There was hardly enough room to turn around or get a run-up. The space was only enough for one car, so Kerry was on the opposite side of the dune. We'll see whether I get out here. That's a one-way trek, it turns out. It ends up in a gully here. And just enough space to turn around. Let's see whether I actually get back out here. Not with the first go, but it's actually quite alright because I can align myself here a bit better now. So the next one now, I've got to get out. Okay. Stuck in a camp spot. While scouting for campsites, we decided to drive up north to Cape Cliff, along Spitfire and Braden Beach. Cape Cliff, located at the base of the Moreton Lighthouse, is a picturesque spot for surfing and swimming. With the temperatures climbing, we decided to go for a swim. The view from the top is also excellent for spotting wildlife in the ocean. It didn't take long before we saw a pod of dolphins swim past. Beach Soul provided me with their bush shower some time ago, and I've used it on 1 or 2 trips with the kids, where it proved to be very handy. However, I don't have a good spot for it on long trips. On these short trips, being by myself, I managed to squeeze it into the rear wheel carrier. I have to say, I really love having it. It allowed me to rinse off salt water whenever I needed it. We found ourselves a good camp spot, tucked away behind the dunes and out of the wind, but only around 100 meters to the beach over a few small little dunes. So, I want to now test the other Flextail pump. So, let's see how long this one takes. So, roughly the time, 2 minutes 23. The only thing really I do not like, you have to unscrew it, take the battery out, charge the battery here. That is cumbersome versus this one here. You just charge it via USB-C here. Overall, I prefer the Flextail Zero pump. The main reasons are: it's smaller, it offers the same pumping speed as the other pump, and the attachments work much better with my Thermarest mattress. It was time to back up all my footage and then to get some dinner on. I can get between 3 or 4 dinners out of a full charged all powers battery bank. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please keep in mind this is a self-funded channel, so I would greatly appreciate if you could help me out by sharing, liking and subscribing. And if you can, please consider head over to Patreon or buy me a coffee, and with the equivalent of a cup of coffee or 2 per month, you can really help me making these videos. Thanks a lot for watching and see you along the tracks.